I think about like when my best mate passed away, and like we lost two other friends in the same accident. So like, three of them passed.
In peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, man.
Three of them passed away in the same accident, and I remember. I think I've said this before in a previous episode, but
Yeah, I remember.
yeah, the reaction I got from a certain person at home, it really did shape pretty much like my outlook on how to deal with my emotions for at least the next 5 to 10 years. And what I mean by that is I then did, I had no choice but to adopt the life happens, you better get on with it. But that in some ways was detrimental because I had no framework to work around, So when traumatic issues came along, I figured my way through. Sometimes it was through violence because that's the only outlet that I was, privy to. It's the only one that I knew. It's the only one I had seen, from other males around me. And so when I got into like my relationship, that was one of the first things I think I struggled with. I won't say I struggle with it as much now, but I still struggle with that, because I can't open up about things that I've been through in the past with my partner. One, because I don't think she will understand to a degree in the way that maybe another one of my guys would, because of the context of where we grew up and stuff like that. But then also I think it's just like, I know what will happen if I become vulnerable and speak about or open up about certain situations as well. So it just kind of proves that I'm actually still not completely ready.
What would happen?
I think I would be, I just don't think I'm prepared to be that vulnerable yet, if that makes sense.
Are you afraid of anything?
I think I'm
Do you just feel like you're holding yourself back? Like you hold yourself back? What is it?
I'm definitely holding myself back. Why I'm doing it, I don't know if it's because I'm afraid to be vulnerable, which I'm not really, not with my wife, but I'm afraid to go back to the emotions from that particular period of time.
Yeah.
Because it will unearth emotions, feelings around people, and especially when it comes to like bereavement as well and grief. I'm no different from anybody. Many people have lost people, and so I think it's a common thing to understand that when you lose someone or people, you never deal with it. You find a cupboard, a drawer, somewhere, you lock away those emotions, but they're never really gone forever. You can't throw away that kind of experience, and so I think it feels like I've got not skeletons, but I've got things that like. It's in the closet, when it comes up again, like...
You know what, I've realised it's like, we're programmed to be this way, like you said, you don't know the reason why, you stay, you don't want to talk about it with your partner, or you just don't want to revive those emotions of how you felt in the past. Why are we so afraid of...
It's so hard, man.
The emotional side.
It's so hard. Like,
why are we so afraid to revisit, what we see as negative emotions? Are they even negative emotions?
I think there's a thing around the fear of the familiar unknown. So you can recognize parts of it from your past, but there's a thing around. I guess the question in most of our minds that we don't know is do I believe I'm really a different person now? So do I believe that I have different attributes, a different skill set, so I would be able to deal with those emotions differently now? And most of us are in that space of like, we're not sure 100% that we are. We're not sure 100% that we have that different skill set, so we don't want to disturb it just in case we're not. So I think it's in that thing of that's the linchpin. That's the thing to figure out. Like, how do I know if I am able to deal with this thing? And if I never feel like I'm able to deal with it, I don't want to deal with it. And I think that's a very natural thing of like, I'm doing other things. I'm I have stuff going on. If I'm going to open this box, I would like to feel a degree of confidence that I can deal with what's in this box. I think there's a thing around, you mentioned something and it made me think something instantly. Like, you'd never get over anything you experience. Like, nothing you experience goes away. No. Everything you experience is in a drawer somewhere. So there's a thing around different experiences hold different weight, yes. But if we understand that all of our experiences are always a part of us, some of them we revisit very regularly.
Mm.
Some of them we stay in this kind of like state of questioning whether we can revisit them or not. And I think it's that thing of what is the skill set I would need to actually open this up. So and I think that's where it's different to vulnerability, because it's not being able to be vulnerable sometimes. It's this particular thing, and do I have the specific skill set for this thing? Because other stuff it's not going to be easy, but you'll be more readily available to the idea of vulnerability. But with some things, it just feels like the moment you think about it, you well up and just like leave it.
Do you know what I think? I think a lot of people struggle to see the benefits of, you know, opening yourself up to vulnerability. You know, like what's the gain? You know, I spoke to a friend of mine, and in response to my video, he said that you know, one reason why he struggles to bring himself to that vulnerable state is because he feels like whoever he's gonna open up to or speak to will use that against him. That it's happened to him in the past, so he's carrying a bit of trauma in the sense that, you know, someone's obviously done him dirty in the past and used what he said to used him opening up against him, and now he's just at a point where it's like, I'm never doing that again. Now that's sad, but at the same time I understand why he's, you know, come to that conclusion of I'm never opening up again. But how sad is that, to live a life of just not being able to, you know, talk about the things you go through in silence? I feel like our true selves, you know, is who we are when we're alone, you know, just with nobody around. You know, everything you feel, everything you know, the person you are behind closed doors when no one's around, you're just by yourself, that's yourself. And if these are the things that you run through your mind, and you're using life like busy and work to distract yourself, then what are you're not fixing anything, you're just carrying trauma and pain.
I think men in particular I don't think men are the only ones that have that issue, but I think men have a real big issue with that. And I think that's part of the reason why I think male suicide is so high. You know,
makes sense.
You
know what? It's only now that I've realized why suicide rates, the suicide rate for males is high. Because a lot of the times I hear that, you know, a lot of men are killing themselves, the suicide. But I've always wondered why. And I can't come to the conclusion, is it because men don't express themselves? But why? And that makes sense, because you get to a point where it's like, I can't even open up to anyone. Like, I'm just carrying all this pain by myself.
And bear in mind, it's not about being lonely. You might feel lonely in those moments. Like I've been there. Like you might feel lonely. But I've tried to take my life with my wife, but she was my girlfriend at the time in the next room. You know, and it's not that she's never there for me, but there was just, again, I couldn't explain it to you, like, you know. And I've had two situations like that, you know, like one when I was a teen, and in both cases I'm not alone. Like I have my family in the house with me, or I had my partner in the other room, and it was just too much.
What did you make an attempt to speak to your family or your partner at the time?
No, my partner at the time would have been aware of like the stress I was going through, the circumstance. I think I was training to be a teacher at the time, but I was going through some crazy health complications. You know, I had like a stomach ulcer, I was bleeding internally,